What's happening? I'm back at it, making YouTube videos. So Project Snake Eyes turned out to be a great project. It did take a little while longer to sell than I anticipated. Something about most states, you can't title a vehicle that don't have emissions controls, and certainly the Humvee does not. South Carolina is a state that doesn't require emission inspections, so therefore it could be titled and driven and tagged. But hey, we got it sold. I miss it because it was fun. It's been a while since I did Project Snake Eyes, and I've kind of been off for a while. I did get my son a car, which was an awesome buy on the auction sites, which is where I get most of my cars. And I'll show you that in another video during the daylight, so you can check it out. Actually, we did a little bit of work to it, made it turn out pretty cool. So I also, one of the biggest things I've done in the last few months was a home improvement project. And as aggravated as I get doing those, there was no way I was going to videotape and put you guys to that misery. But here's some pictures of what I did. Check it out. Now that brings us on to the next project that I'm going to focus on for Ponder projects, and that's using this little beauty right here. This is a 2004 Mustang GT. You've seen it in some of my videos, you can see it on my channel. I built a Factory 5 Mark IV Cobra Replica back in 2012, and I used this same car. It was a little more damaged. It was pretty much hit in this part of the front. This one here is the front bumper's gone and the airbags are deployed. So a car this old, that's going to be a total loss. This one was a challenge, and so with it, it came from the auction sites and it had no keys. Here's a quick video of us unloading it with our buddy who could not speak English. This was fun. So this is always fun, getting your delivery. You just never know how it's going to show up. So we got cars parked up and down the street. My man's got this huge trailer. Donor car. No keys. Hopefully it rolls. We'll see. Hours later, there's the drag marks to get the car in the garage. This is what happens when you don't use your garage. Your son turns it into a batting cage. But those are really short clips because it took us no doubt 2 hours to get this car off that hauler, and with the steering wheel locked. And just to tell you a few things about the donor, it didn't have any keys. I do have a title. I don't know how many miles is on it because without any keys, the dash isn't working. So with no keys, you couldn't get the steering wheel unlocked. So we literally had to jack the car up and move it gently down the ramp. And the last few feet were pretty scary, but hey, we got it in the garage. And what we're gonna do, what we need for our build out of this car is just the running gear. There are a few other things like the tank, the fuel tank, the evap system, the fuel cutoff inertia system that's on the back of it, the pedal box, the power steering rack, things like that. You don't really need a power steering for a 2,000-pound Cobra Replica, but it sure makes it nice. The one I built before had it, and we're gonna do power steering as well. So, real quick, what we got here, don't know the mileage again. Showed up with no keys, so I called a locksmith out here for 50 bucks. He made a key. We coded it to the computer because Fords have the PATS anti-theft system, which is a passive anti-theft system. If it doesn't recognize a key, it won't start up. And of course, that didn't work. So I bought a new immobilizer, which is a ring around the ignition to recognize the key. That didn't work. So finally we took the ECM out of the underneath, or PCM, whichever one it is, the computer. We took it out from underneath the floorboard, sent it to a guy in Florida. He flashed out the PATS, and now it cranks up and it runs. It is super loud. Somebody straight piped this thing. And I mean, I'm talking, well, the Cobra's loud too, but for some reason why this is like super loud. So not gonna crank it up tonight, but what we are gonna focus on this video, finishing this one out, is just where we're gonna start taking parts off of it. And that's gonna be the radiator. So we're gonna keep the videos a little short. Try to keep under 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes, and not as many of the build sequences. Just kind of describe what we're doing. It's real simple. Donor car, we're gonna get the parts out of it. We're gonna clean them up. We're gonna make them nice. This is an automatic. So I gotta buy a transmission, which is fine, because my last build, I ended up building my Cobra, and 2 months later I had to take the transmission out and have it rebuilt, and that cost more than a new transmission does. So I was like, I don't care, I'll take an automatic because I'm getting a new transmission. And the engine looks clean. I don't know how many miles is on it. And we plan to do a lot of work to it anyway, like changing out the fuel rails and obviously spark plugs and ignition coils. All that stuff's gonna be changed to clean it up, because honestly, a modular engine is not that pretty unless you do a lot of dress up to it. So several videos will be based on that. So let's get started. When it gets daylight, let's start taking some parts off this car. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna take out of here is the radiator. Now, it looks like the way this thing was sitting in the front, the lower support's kind of bent into the radiator. So I think the last time I bought a new radiator anyway, but we'll get this one out and see what kind of shape it's in. The fins in the front actually look pretty good. It just depends on how much damage was done to it in the initial wreck. So first thing we'll do is drain it. We'll take the overflow tank off, which I won't be using that one. I'll be using the chrome one that looks a lot better. And then also we'll go ahead and take the fan shroud off. We will need that. So let's basically just start with getting the cooling system out of here, and then we'll wrap it up for this first episode of the next Cobra project. Try to do this environmentally sensitive as possible. Okay, there's one sign of an issue. There's hardly any radiator fluid in here. Easy cleanup. Okay, a couple of issues to note here is you can see that the distribution block for the brake is right in the way of taking the fan off. So I got the tank off, got the lower radiator hose off. I don't know what they had there, but that was not the original one. It's all kinked up. So the engine's probably not had a chance to get good cooling in a while. So what we'll have to do is we'll label those brake lines. We got to take the air compressor lines off. We will not need air conditioner for a Cobra. So we'll discharge these safely, take these out of the way, get this distribution block out of the way. Then we'll be able to take the fan off. And then also the key is to label each one of these wires. So I'll label this, AC sensor, fan connection. And then also over here you can see where the power steering cooler is connected. So that's gonna have to come out as well. So we'll get all this disconnected and then pull the radiator up. All right, there we go. Radiator's out, and you can see where the core support is racked from the impact that the car took from the front. But it definitely gives you a lot of room to be able to get in there and get to it. The distribution block, I kept calling this, that's the traction control unit. So we got all that apart, stacked up over here, cleaned up. Like I said, I won't use that expansion tank, and I can't remember how we do traction control. I will not use traction control, but I still think you have to use the block. So there we go. First day, not bad for an hour's worth of work. It's actually fun taking apart stuff. It's almost funner taking it apart than it is putting it together. Not quite. One point of clarification, that's the automatic transmission cooling area. That's what ties in there. So we will not be using that radiator because we won't have an automatic transmission, which is fine. It's racked anyway and beat up. So not a donor part we're going to use, and then the fan's too big too. So that'll go away. Automatic transmission cooling area, don't need it.